Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Oh Shoot. Today, I am joined by Charlie, my husband.
Hello, everybody.
So, this episode, we are talking about photography confessions. Charlie has kind of seen my Instagram stories here and there, but this episode is inspired by my Instagram stories. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I basically did like a question box. I've done them a few times, but it's a question box where you just give your photography confession. You know, you just kind of talk about some things that maybe you want to be kept anonymous, whatever, just experiences you've had or things that you do, whatever. Literally, it's a confession. So there have been some interesting answers, and on my Instagram story, I posted a lot of them, but there were still so many more that I wanted to share. Like literally, we get so many submissions. So I wanted to make a podcast episode out of it. Charlie hasn't heard any of these. I just kind of scanned over them, and we're going to go over some photography confessions.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy when you started getting those original submissions at the very beginning of having opened up this Instagram poll on your stories. Man, it sounds like a lot of you guys have been bottling stuff up for quite a while with some of your experiences. So glad we could be your avenue to vent some of these confessions.
Yes. We are happy to be an avenue of venting. And we're just going to talk about each confession as we talk about them. So it's going to be interesting. We are batching episodes right now because me and Charlie are going on a little road trip. We're driving across the West Coast and through national parks and stuff. So here we are. This is before our road trip. We'll obviously do episodes after the road trip and update you guys on how the road trip went. Right now, we're just kind of last minute scattering and putting things together.
There's been a big list of things to get together, especially because another thing that we put on Cassidy's story was recommendations for camping trips from you guys of items to keep on hand, things to have on your checklist before you leave, and very helpful. Thank you all for your help. If you submitted and you're listening to this, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, we had a lot of good recommendations. I should post a list of all your guys' recommendations. There were a lot of very practical things I didn't think about. Honestly, I can't even remember. Like lots of people said like wipes, like body wipes, which I did mention. Like we're not doing like full camping. Like we're not like staying in a tent because I don't really think that I could handle that. I think if I'm going to get into this like camping life, I need to ease myself into it. So we're starting with a camper that has like a bathroom and a shower. So I don't know if we'll need the body wipes. We're still going to like get some, but we had a lot of good recommendations, some funny ones, but yeah, for the most part, it was pretty helpful. And we just yesterday walked around like a bunch of stores that have camping stuff like REI and Dick's Sporting Goods. And we just were like looking at all the things that we didn't even realize that we needed.
Shout out to Harbor Freight for supplying all our towing needs. We're going to have a camper. That's why it's not going to be as stripped down as camping as some of you guys may experience often. But
yeah. So we basically just went around and got a bunch of random stuff. I'm also, hopefully, fingers crossed, going to be recording a lot of my sessions that I have. Just for behind the scenes stuff. So I'll post some stuff in my story, but also like, I just want to have that content. I'm thinking about maybe doing something fun with it in the future. I'm not going to say what, but stay tuned because I get a lot of questions about posing and stuff like that. So I think that's pretty much it.
Who knows? We might mess around and record an episode out in the great wilderness and have a really cool backdrop. Stay tuned on the YouTube channel. Maybe you'll see something cool.
Yeah, we'll see.
Or maybe not.
I don't know if I'm going to bring all of our podcast stuff with us. I feel like that's a lot. That's why we're recording episodes beforehand so we don't have to record them on the trip.
Maybe we can find some like stripped down way to do a different one.
Yeah, but I'm hoping to like kind of vlog the trip. I'm not really a vlogger, but maybe just get some I don't know, fun footage and just like, I don't know, take videos of us doing stuff, and I might turn it into like a big trip video at the end. And honestly, we're going to have so much time in the car that I'm going to need some stuff to do. So I think putting together a big vlog video would help me stay occupied, honestly.
Yeah, and we'll have like a inverter to be able to charge our laptops as we're driving cross nation to be able to get stuff done. Otherwise, Cassidy would be strung out and have no idea what to do.
Yeah, so you said the inverter. There's so many random things that you need for these trips, things that you don't even think about. Like an inverter is like what you plug into your cigarette outlet thing in your car so that you could like plug your laptop charger into it. Like literally I would have never thought about that, but like I probably am going to need it if I'm going to be running Premiere Pro on the go. So yeah, it's crazy. There's so much stuff that you need. So yeah, I'll probably share a list on my Instagram or something. Okay. Should we get into some confessions?
I think so. We'll have some of our own confessions after the trip, but we'll save those for then.
I thought, yeah, definitely. We'll definitely have our own confessions. Honestly, I have a few of my own confessions, but I didn't put them in here. I was going to just like act like some anonymous person put them in here, but it's plot twist. These are all my confessions. None of these are other people's confessions. I'm just kidding. None of these are mine. All right. So let's get into it. Charlie, go ahead. You can read the first one.
Okay, here we are. First one. Asked Grandpa to get in the family photos, and it was the groom's dad.
Okay, so my thought is the groom's dad kind of is, like, maybe he is a grandpa. Like, maybe, like, I feel like that one's not as shocking. Like, he could be a grandpa. He could have grandkids. Like, someone in the family could have kids already. So, you know, yes, it is embarrassing, but also like, you know, maybe he has gray hair. Like he could look like a grandpa. I don't know. You know? Yeah,
I think it also depends on the age of the couple too, because there have been weddings where we've shot and the bride and groom already have kids together. And,
right.
You know, that's just the way it goes sometimes. And, yeah, so, I mean, those parents of the bride and groom were grandparents.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's...
Easy mistake to make. Easy mistake to make.
Yeah, and honestly, like, it's just one of those things where you have to move on from it. Like, you said it, you can't take it back, and just kind of laugh it off, move on. Like, thankfully, it wasn't something that, like, directly interfered with, like, the bride or the groom or, like, your couple. Because then it gets awkward. Like if you actually accidentally call like, you know, the groom something, you know, because you have to be with them like all day. But if it's the groom's dad, you can kind of avoid the groom's dad after that pretty well. So I don't think, you know, it's not the end of the world. Like it could be worse.
Yeah, you can learn to dodge the dad the rest of the day.
You really can. Like, I mean, you might have to take a few photos of him, but you really could like... dodge him if you absolutely need it.
And it's the groom's dad, so you're not going to have as much interaction with them as, per se, the bride's parents, too.
You never know. I don't know. Sometimes the groom's parents are, like, more involved. It honestly depends on the family dynamic,
yeah,
you know?
I was going to say, it all depends on the family.
Yeah. Okay. So the next confession. I locked my keys in the car, and all of my gear was in the car. I made the ceremony run late.
Had to wait for AAA to come unlock my car.
You're saying you?
No, I'm saying that's what that person. Yeah.
I was like, when did this happen? I've never heard this story before. Yeah. So I actually associate shot a wedding. So I wasn't the main shooter, but the second shooter that was with me, I think she listens to this podcast. She locked her keys in her car, but she locked them in the car at the beginning of the day. And thankfully she had all of her gear out. So when we went to leave, she couldn't get into her car and she couldn't find her keys, which that honestly is not as bad as literally making the ceremony run late. I simply cannot imagine. That is just truly a nightmare. The thought of something not happening or like me delaying something really just scares me. And I know a lot of the times photographers, like, you know, like during bridal portraits, like sometimes they run long and that's a result, you know, technically running late. That's because of the photographer. But like the ceremony, like delaying the ceremony because your photographer's not there, that is probably like the most embarrassing. Like imagine showing up and like all the guests are just like looking at you like waiting. Everyone's just looking at you. Oh gosh.
Yeah, I mean, we usually try to be pretty early to stuff to give ourselves a buffer for whatever might need to happen prior to the ceremony, or I should say prior to people getting ready or whatever have you. But if you have to wait on a roadside assistance or something to come help you get your car unlocked, there is no amount of buffer time that's going to get you ready for that wedding without making people wait. So I apologize if you're out there and this was you.
Yeah, that truly sucks. But you probably learned a lesson. You probably are never going to lock your keys in your car at a wedding again, unless you have horrible luck and you do it again the next time. But I doubt it.
We'll see. You know what they say, third time's a charm.
Yes.
It's coming to you again.
Charlie's like, I wish you the worst of luck. I hope your keys get locked in your car again. Thank you. Bye.
So sorry, but it's going to happen.
Charlie.
Just kidding. Am I? Probably not.
I mean,
but it's good.
I feel like I have really good, I just feel like I'm very blessed when it comes to incidents at weddings. I really haven't had any horrible incidents yet. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. I don't have any wood near me, but I feel like we really haven't had horrible things happen. But then I look at all these confessions and I'm like, there are so many potential things that could go wrong when I'm shooting. And I don't even think about it, socially, gear wise, time wise, health wise. There's so many things that could go wrong. So I'm just over here thank you. I'm so blessed.
Yeah. Well, enough about us. Let's hear the rest of these confessions.
All right, Charlie.
Okay, so I got the next one. Here it is. Missed an entire courthouse wedding because I put the bride's home address in my GPS.
Instead of the courthouse address.
Yes.
Wow. So my guess would be that the bride's home is further away from the courthouse. Oh, and they missed it. Oh gosh.
Yeah, they missed that's what it says at the beginning. Missed an entire courthouse wedding.
Oh, okay. So that courthouse weddings though, they are so freaking quick.
They do happen in about 30 seconds. And if you're not there in those 30 seconds, you're not going to see it.
So my question is, why did they start the wedding without the photographer?
Well, because it's like the courthouse. What the courthouse does, what the courthouse does.
Right. So they probably couldn't control it. Wow.
Cassidy and I have actually been witnesses in a courthouse wedding.
Yes.
And we love our friends that got married.
I took photos of the little wedding too.
Yeah. It was a great time.
Yeah. The lighting, unless your courthouse is I don't know, recently redone, the lighting in the courthouse sucks.
Yeah. But you move on.
Yeah, it's true. So, okay, you're missing an entire courthouse wedding. Just double check your addresses and your GPS. And I will share a little tidbit of helpful info. Before my weddings, I send my clients a questionnaire and have them fill out all the addresses that I need. And from there, I put the addresses in my notes and put it in the order that I need to go to the places. So, you start at this place and this place. I'm feeling if you, why did you even have the bride's home address? If you're just shooting the courthouse wedding. I don't know.
I wonder if they were having a family reception after the courthouse back at the bride's house.
Yeah, or they could have maybe done some getting ready photos. Yeah, very confused, but
I don't think they would have done getting ready photos before the courthouse, with the photographer there, if the photographer was meeting them and they showed up at the wrong place.
Oh, okay, I see. So yeah, maybe they had the address for some other reason. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Minutes before the wedding, I fell down a hill, used wet leaves to clean the blood during the ceremony.
Oh my goodness. Just got to make it happen. Whatever the cost is, I am going to be there, blood, sweat, and tears. I'm going to use these leaves to wipe off all my skin, knees, and elbows and get in there and get these shots.
Oh, gosh. I just that is just so dirty and gross. I'm just trying to put myself in a situation like that. I'm picturing the situation that would require me to do that is Hunger Games type of things. I have to be very desperate to use dirty leaves to wipe up my wounds,
I mean, what is it Prim that helps Katniss with her wounds, or the Tracker Jacker stings? She helps him Put the
no,
leaves.
it's not Prim because Prim isn't in the Hunger
No,
Games.
excuse me, not Prim. Prue.
Rue.
Yes,
Not
wrong.
Prue.
Wrong.
Rue.
Rue. I am so
Yes,
sorry.
it's okay. So yeah, Rue helps Katniss in the Hunger Games.
Rue, Prim.
I'm thinking like if I'm shooting, like I would use like a microfiber cloth or like a lens wipe or something. If you are gushing blood, go to the emergency room.
You should
like,
start with keeping a first aid kit in your car.
Okay, but like what if the ceremony wasn't near their car? Like,
I mean, you could put like 2 Band-Aids in your
no, but
backpack.
think about it. If you fell down a hill right before the ceremony, you don't have time to go back to your car. The ceremony's about to start. And like a ceremony is a ceremony. You can't miss that.
True.
Good for you. I'm applauding you because you did what you had to do. You wiped off your wounds and you kept going.
I do think the microfiber cloth is a fair point.
Yeah.
Those are very cheap and inexpensive to replace.
So for the future, keep a cloth in your bag or Band-Aids.
Like two. Not a lot.
2.
You don't need a lot. Just
Yeah.
a couple.
I also think I might have used a sock as well. Like I literally would have pulled a sock off my foot, wiped my blood, and then just not worn a sock on one of my feet.
Yeah, and then shot an 8-hour wedding with no sock on one foot and got the world's worst blisters, and then you're cut and you have bad blisters.
Yeah. All right, Charlie's over here not believing me, but like that's what I would do. All right, let's go to the next one.
This one is short, sweet, and simple. My dog ate my SD card. That's it.
After having a dog, I completely understand how this could happen. I do. I actually saw someone's Instagram story, someone I followed, and their dog chewed up like their entire SD card case and all the cards in it. And I was mortified. I was like, what? Like, what? Like, first of all, how does that even taste good?
I don't think it does. I think dogs are just like the animal version of a garbage disposal, and they just, whatever they get their eyes on, unless they're trained well, they're going to just dive into stuff. Even if they are trained well, some dogs, you just don't know what's on their mind.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully you got all the photos off of your SD card. That's like all I can think about is like the photos, and also the fact that you lost an SD card. Like SD cards like add up eventually.
Quickly.
Yeah.
They add up quick.
Wow. So
the SD card recovery companies or different digital recovery companies out there, they do acts of magic. I do not understand how they do what they do.
I also don't fully understand. And I know sometimes there are cases where they can't get the photos back. I've known a few people who had the recovery service and then they still couldn't get the photos back for them. But yeah, that's just tech beyond my brain. Like that's some high level stuff that I just don't comprehend and don't desire to comprehend.
Yeah, I wonder if like a mauled SD card, if they would be able to do their magic on that stuff.
I'm going to lean towards no.
Yeah.
I also wonder, like, they didn't give us detail about like, did the dog just chew it and spit it out? Or was this SD card found in like, you know, like the I don't want to say like poop, but like actually like the dog's poop. Like, were they just like one day looking in the dog's poop? It's like, oh, there's my SD card. Like,
I don't want to get too deep into the digestive system and if an SD card would make its way through.
Right. Well, I think that does make a difference though, whether or not you can get the photos back though. Is like, how far did the dog go? I
think it also depends on what length you're willing to go to get your photos back too.
Facts. Yeah. I would not be digging through any sort of anything.
I mean, what if multiple thousands of dollars from a wedding are on the line?
You make a good point. I'm going to no comment on that one.
Rubber gloves, here we come.
All right. The next one. The groom fell on a slippery bridge during his first look, cut open his hand and didn't know. Then he hugged the bride and covered her dress and veil in blood, all right before the ceremony. Do you have anything to say to that one?
I only a few times have come to the point where I have cut myself to the point where I can't feel it.
Yeah.
Those types of cuts are some of the worst cuts when it comes to like a deep cut that you can't feel.
Okay.
Because you just are like, you're gushing.
Yeah. You know, I just like, what do you do? Like, genuinely, I have no idea. I don't know what I would do. I don't think as a photographer you can do anything, but like, does the bride just laugh it off and tell everyone at the ceremony, like, do not be alarmed, this was simply an accident? Like, like, genuinely, what do you do? Like, do you change out of your dress? Do you delay the wedding? Like, what do you do?
I'm not sure.
And then the photographer, how do you take the photos? There's blood on the dress, like, all over. I'm lost for words. Oh gosh. I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's because it's funny. It's like the scenario is your photographer and the bride and groom go away to a dark place and are away from everybody else for a while. And the bride comes back and she's got blood all over her dress.
Yeah.
What just happened?
Yeah.
Murder mystery.
We'll never know. Charlie's trying to turn this into a true crime. Here's
a Colleen Hoover book coming for you.
All right. No, it's not. Charlie. He has no idea the genres of books that I read, because Colleen Hoover is not even a true crime or a crime novelist. She writes romance novels. No crime involved whatsoever. All right, let's move on. I'm not getting into this.
Ready to drop the gloves in defense of Colleen Hoover.
You don't know what type of book she writes.
I understand. I definitely don't have it pegged right.
Okay.
So let's just move on.
Yeah. Let's.
During photos, I asked the bride's parents how long they'd been married. They're divorced. I couldn't even get through that.
Oh gosh. And okay, back to my questionnaire that I send. I asked them, like, are there any special family circumstances that I need to know? And a lot of people will tell me, like, my parents are divorced, like, this one's married to this person, whatever. It just helps me get a vibe for the family scenario and like what is happening beforehand, so that I don't like say stuff like that. Because I've sent out my questionnaire before, and I've had like someone say to me, like, the groom actually hates his stepdad, and like, don't put them next to each other in photos. Like, I like try not to get him in photos because like he just hates him so much. And like, I would have never known that, you know? So, and people are good at acting, like, especially on their wedding day, they're good at acting like, you know, they like some of the people that maybe they don't. So yeah, just to avoid a scenario like this, yeah, maybe consider just asking about extended family circumstances, even if there's like, you know, a deceased relative too. Like, it's thoughtful to ask that before, so then you don't make any slip ups and then it's just awkward.
And this will help you know whether or not the groom's dad is actually the grandpa or whether it's just his dad.
Exactly. So it was my first time shooting for a wedding, and I had no idea how to work a camera. Ha 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 ha. Incredible.
Oh my goodness. Good acting skills, I guess. Like, just stand there and smile and say, do this.
That is one way to get your first wedding. Truthfully, like, you know, even if you had experience working a camera, like, everyone's first wedding, the photos don't turn out great. So, you know, is there a difference between someone who's been shooting for a year and someone that just picked up a camera? Yes. But at the same time, like, your first wedding's your first wedding. The photos aren't probably going to turn out amazing anyway. So honestly, good for you for booking that wedding and being like, I'm just going to figure out how to work a camera and I'm going to shoot it.
Yeah. I don't know if this was close friends or people that you knew well that hired you for that wedding, but good for you.
Yeah. Good
you
for you.
got your wedding.
We're applauding you.
And you, hopefully by now, you know how your camera works.
Yes. Hopefully. If you're listening to this podcast, maybe you do.
Yeah. I don't know. This next one, I almost started laughing while you were talking about the last one because it's funny. Here it is. I dropped the engagement ring through the cracks in the deck while taking detail shots. The dad had to get his impact out and remove some boards so we could get it back.
What is an impact?
His impact driver, like drill.
Okay.
The dad had to get his drill out and start deconstructing his deck so they could get the engagement ring back.
Okay. Oh, I see.
Man literally had to tear apart the deck to get the ring back.
I am just picturing like the dad being like, what is worth more? Like me cutting my deck in front of there probably was a crowd at that point of people trying to get the ring out. Like the dad being like, do I cut open my deck or do I just say, well, sorry. And obviously this is a good dad because he was like, I am tearing apart this deck until I get that ring. This is almost like a hero moment for me. Like
A+, Dad.
Yes.
A+. You showed up when the time called and you answered that call.
But now let's talk about the fact that it was the photographer who dropped the ring in the cracks.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the moral confliction of having been taking those detail shots and you watch that ring in slow motion fall through the cracks of that deck and you are on the ground sprawling for it and reaching and trying to grab it as it falls through the deck and you slips through your fingers, falls through, and then you're standing there thinking for a moment, I'm going to have to talk to somebody about this.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
And then you actually had to work up the courage to go tell the people like, hey, I don't want you to freak out or anything, but I dropped your engagement ring through the deck and I can't get it back.
Oh gosh. Yeah. I am speechless. This is like a worst case scenario, every photographer's worst nightmare happening in real life. And I absolutely hate that. So, all right. I hit a little girl in the face with my second camera body when I went to pull it out to shoot. Oh, no.
Makes me think of those TikToks where the people like have their pets propped up and then they smack their animal and it's like the stuffed animal that goes flying.
Yeah.
Makes you think of like when you go to grab the second camera body off of your harness and when you swing it up, the little kid just goes flying.
Oh gosh, Charlie. I just, it's like, first of all, how did you not see the kid? I'm a little confused by that one.
Sometimes kids just sneak up
they
on you.
Just come out of nowhere, apparently. Oh, I feel bad for the little girl, but also you feel horrible because obviously you didn't do it on purpose. But cameras are heavy. I just picture like, that feeling when you get hit in the nose and it just like makes you want to like cuss and cry all at the same time. Like I'm picturing this kid going through that because that is what a camera would do to your face. Like it would hurt.
You get hit
bad.
in the nose so hard you have to sneeze.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that feeling, but
I don't know that feeling actually. But I'm just picturing like this photographer having like a 70 to 200, like the heaviest lens to ever exist, the heaviest camera body, and just whipping it.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a telephoto lens because of it being the second body.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's get rid of this violence and let's move on to the next one.
Okay, here it is. My prompt was 2 things he loves about his wife, and he couldn't think of a single thing. She left.
That is horrible. I don't know why I'm laughing. Your prompt is just like, it's so innocent. It should be so easy. And he's just like, yeah, I can't think of anything.
How are you going to put mans on a spot like that?
It's 2 things. He could have said her hair, her humor. Like those are 2 very basic. Maybe this was like a thing that was boiling up for a while and like, it just happened to boil over at this shoot, It could, it's been a long time coming, and this photographer just had to witness like the peak of like an argument or something. I don't know.
Just imagine you sitting there now with the groom or
It looks like it was just a couple shoot.
Fiance or whoever the boyfriend.
Husband is. It's just 2 things he loves about his wife.
Yeah. So the husband.
Yeah.
Just imagine you as a photographer sitting there with the husband after that. What do you say?
I would be like, respectfully, you're a jerk, bye. No, I would literally never say that.
Could you think of 2 things now?
Yeah. I'd be like, you better go get your girl. Like, why are you still here with me? All right. That one's insane. These are all insane, honestly. Okay. Every time I start a session, I can't remember how to do photography. Yeah. I mean, I can relate to this, like forgetting poses and stuff. Yeah. Just it's kind of like stage fright. Like you get nervous, put on the spot, and you just forget literally everything that you've ever known about anything. I can relate to that.
Takes a moment to hit your groove,
Yeah. Just if you run into the situation, just kind of jump into it and take the bull by the horns and just start shooting, just in those first couple of photos and the first couple of poses, don't even worry about them turning out. Just get into the groove. And then after you get through like a pose or two, then those are the photos that count, and really just, you should be in the groove at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to turn this into like a tips and tricks video, but for me, I know like just having conversations with the couple and being a personable individual myself, like just being able to jump in and ask questions and talk to people is always one of the best ways for me to just kind of go into the deep end, dive in and get ready just taking shots. But I'm talking to them, getting to know them rather than just me trying to awkwardly figure out what types of shots I want to do. Mm-hmm. And it's like obviously these are more candid shots. It's not like a couple session or something like that, but it's just nice to be able to have that moment to, while we're talking, get shots of them candidly and then kind of figure out what I want to be doing as we're going back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Tips and tricks with Charlie.
Yeah. That's just specifically from this last weekend. We had a wedding and I usually get sent away by myself to do shots of the guys. So I'm like trying to figure out, hey guys, how's it going? Like, I'm Charlie, your photographer today.
Yeah. All right. You're on to the next one.
Okay. Here it is. Had a bride and groom, both named Sam. Let's just say posing them was annoying as frick.
That would be very annoying. Like, Sam, put your hand on her face. No, Sam. No, you, Sam. Like, how do you...
Sam, could you turn your head this way a little bit? And both of them look at you.
I feel like I would almost ask them, like, can I call one of you Sam and one of you Sammy? Just so, like, like, which is which.
You really going to call them Sammy?
Sammy. I don't know. Samantha. Like, or Samuel. Like, you do... If it's, like, Samuel and Samantha, you could do, like... their full names. I don't know. Or you could just default to being like, hey, I'm just gonna kind of move you guys around hands on and just move your arms where I need to because this is too hard to pose you.
Just know that as the photographer in that situation, you are not the first to have that issue and you are far from the last should they continue to be together for a long time because they're gonna have that the rest of their couple's relationship life.
Yes. So this next one, I actually did post on my Instagram, but I just thought it was funny. No. Charlie, you can't stop reading ahead. He's reading all of these ahead, and now he's laughing. Okay. Stab the groom in the chest. Oh, sorry, there's more. Trying to pin on his boutonniere. That's it. He just stabbed the groom in the chest. That's it. So Charlie actually is like the default boutonniere guy. We just have run into so many weddings where nobody knows how to put on a boutonniere, which honestly is fine because we know how to. So Charlie usually ends up putting on all the boutonnieres just because he knows how to do it. I am decent, but I'm not incredible at it. So yeah, it's funny that this is in here. And I just imagine like you're trying so hard. Like maybe this person doesn't really know how to put on the boutonniere if you're stabbing them, but you're trying so hard to like just do it and make it like just get on the boutonniere good. And you're just like trying to not cause any issues. And then you just like put that pin a little too far and he's like, ow. And you're just like, man, like that's what I was trying so hard not to do. Thankfully, boutonnieres are just like very thin needles. So it's not like...
Yeah, not a big deal. You're just stabbing them with a really thin needle.
Yeah, it's not it hurts. It's like a poke. It's not like... Yeah, anyway.
Any unwarranted stab with anything is enough to not be okay, Cassidy. Don't try and make it okay.
Oh, that
Learn
is
how to
funny.
put on a boutonniere, photographers. That
Hell
is going
yeah.
to be one of your most underrated skills
Charlie,
as a photographer.
stop shaming. It's okay if you don't know how to. Just maybe try to learn it.
Yeah, but you don't need to go around stabbing grooms
All right.
until you know how to do it.
All right. Let's go to the next one.
Okay. You can only get so many dancing photos at receptions. Yes. So I take pics and delete them.
This reminds me, there was another person that confessed that they pressed the test button on their flash while they're at the reception. And if you don't know, like that literally just sends off a flash through the air, but it doesn't take a photo. So if you have enough shots, like this person's just pressing the test button. And so this is the same concept, like taking pictures and just deleting them. Honestly, if you are at a reception, like we only need like maybe 30 minutes at the most at a reception to get photos. So if we're there longer, I like to mess around with like different styles and just try different things. So I'll do shutter drag for a while and maybe point my flash directly forward. And then maybe I'll walk around and see if there's anyone near the bar or like chilling outside and maybe get some photos of that. I don't know. I just try to get creative with it because it's like, well, I'm here. I might as well just like, try to do something with my time.
Sometimes I just get to the point where I'm just dancing with my camera. Honestly.
Charlie does end up dancing and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, great. I'll just take all these photos by myself. Thank you.
I'm just dancing with all of the groomsmen and the groom that I've been hanging out with all day long.
All right. So this next one, I legit got the wrong date on a wedding day. Bride called me like, hey, are you coming? I was not. Yep.
Check your calendar.
Well, okay, so I'm wondering like if it was you got the wrong date because the bride told you the wrong day or if you just like thought it was a different day. There's two different things that can happen here. One is the bride like reached out to you, signed the contract and the date was wrong in the contract, right? So that would be the bride's fault. The second option is like the bride told you the right date but then you put it wrong in your calendar or you thought it was like the next weekend or you forgot about it. Yeah. So there's two different ways this can go. Both of these I have had nightmares about because I'm like, I don't know. I've had someone like reach out on my website, put one specific date down. And then when I went to send them the contract, they were like, that's not our wedding date. And I was like, that's what you put in the contract. Like, I don't know. How am I supposed to know what your actual wedding day is?
Listen, people, you're the ones filling out these drop tabs, not us.
Right. But I was thankful that they noticed it and I was still free on the date of their actual wedding. But I think something that is a lot of photographers' fears is just like scheduling a wedding and then like, I don't know, maybe it was like the first wedding for a while or you had a couple weekends off. And so it's just like getting back into the groove of it is weird. So you genuinely forget like that the wedding's coming up. Yeah. Oof. That's a big oof. All right. Am I the next one or are you? I'll just read it. Okay. I'm just like, I want to read it.
Yeah, it's
The couple vanished after the ceremony, so I was trying to find them for family photos. I heard their voices and got to the doorway to hear the groom say, "We're married now. We can ... I am crying. It's just like the one conversation that you really wish you didn't hear. Like, but I do feel like as photographers, we're always like, where's the bride? Where's the groom? Like, where's my couple? I need to know where they are. And that's great and all, but sometimes you got to give them a little bit of space. I found that like I find myself constantly trying to locate the couple, which is great. It's great to be aware of where your couple is. But, if they sneak off, like, don't necessarily go looking after for them, like, unless there's something you need them for, or like if it's like family photos or like you need them for portraits or something. But if it's just like, it's cocktail hour, you're just kind of chilling. I've had my couples like go off and they just want like a minute to themselves. And I'm like, yeah, like go for it. But usually they tell me like, hey, we're just going to take some time to ourselves. And I'm like, of course, like obviously go. But yeah. I'm so sorry you had to hear that conversation. I hope that you've mentally recovered from that.
Oh my goodness.
All right, you got the next one.
All right, here it is. Got in a hit and run accident on the way to a wedding and had to shoot like everything was fine.
That's just unfortunate.
Hit and run scenarios are some of the worst times.
Yeah. I've never been in a hit and run, so I don't know.
I haven't either. It's like you just have like a hurricane of different things to figure out following that. And I'm sorry that you had to go through that wedding.
Yeah. I just picture like almost like it's like that scared like feeling after like you're shaky. Like if you get in an accident, like you're just so shaky and out of it, probably in shock. I don't even know how I would shoot a wedding because like your brain just isn't there. Like you're just in shock and you just have no idea how to cope with what's happening. That would be so hard, but honestly, good for you.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, like they were able to still make it to the wedding and everything. So I'm assuming it wasn't like your vehicle was totaled or anything, but still any scenario where someone hits you and takes off is worse than you just being able to come to the wedding unscathed and fine.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Let's go on to the next one. Groom had his phone in my bag, and when he went to pull it out, some black lacy panties came out with it. No idea how, but to make it all worse, it was a religious wedding too. So I'm genuinely curious. Why was the groom putting the underwear with his phone in your bag?
No, I don't think that's the scenario. I think
What?
the photographer had that underwear in their camera bag without them knowing, and the groom just stored his phone in her bag like quickly.
No. It's saying that the groom put his bag in the photographer's phone, and when he pulled it out, why would
You're saying it backwards. The groom had his phone, put it in the photographer's bag.
Yes.
And when he went to grab it, some black lacy panties came out with it.
Yes, as in, and look, it says no idea how, but to make it worse, it was a religious wedding. I'm thinking that the groom had the panties with him and was keeping them with him throughout the day. I don't know why. And stored it with his phone because obviously, like, you know, during photos, he doesn't want that like in his pocket or something. And then when he went to grab his phone, the panties like fell with the phone. That makes a lot more sense than the photographer having panties in their bag.
Well, I mean, you never know. Like that person might have just forgot to take it out if they were traveling or something.
Okay. If you wrote this in and you're listening to this, DM me or something and let me know.
We need some clarification right now.
I don't need clarification. I know what happened, but I just want you to confirm that I'm right in my DMs, please.
Well, here's the thing. This is what clears it all up. It's the same couple as the last confession into this confession, and it was the groom the entire time.
What? What are you talking about?
Not the hit and run. 2 ago, when it was the couple that the
photographer vanished.
Snuck up on them
Plot
and
twist,
overheard
it's all
their
from
conversation.
the same
Yeah.
person. Okay. You can read the next one.
Here it is. I had a great grandma drop a foster baby straight on her face during a session.
No, that's not even like funny. That's sad. Yeah. And like it's the great grandma. Like I just imagine how like frail a great grandma is.
Both sides of it. I mean, the baby's frail, the great grandma's frail.
All of these like violent like kid stories. This makes me very like sad.
We want you to know that in the recording of this video, no children were harmed.
Obviously.
Only in the confessions of all these other photographers.
Okay. A girl showed up to my session straight from her new spray tan and was orange in all the photos. Wow. That's fantastic. Girl, you just got to drop that orange saturation and you are good. No, but truthfully, I don't. At that point, like it's the client's fault that they showed up orange. So
hopefully you have some type of clause in your contract that says bad spray tans are a result of your own choices.
Yeah, I mean that is a result of the client's choice. So our camera battery just died, so we had to go fix that real quick. But we were talking about the girl who showed up straight from her spray tan to the session. Do you have any other thoughts on that, Charlie?
No, I mean, you got to do what you got to do with the spray tans, but try to check your tints.
Yes. I mean, I love a good spray tan, but maybe like a couple of days before the session, not like the day of. Okay. So this next one. I hate weddings. When someone contacts me about a wedding, I say I'm booked. Good on you.
I mean, if you know what you want, you know what you want.
Yeah. weddings are not for everyone. And I mean, I just at this wedding we shot on Saturday, I came home with the world's worst migraine of my life. And I had a lot of people respond to my story saying that I had a migraine, saying that like they also dealt with that too, and literally are like about to give up weddings because it just takes such a huge toll on them. Weddings are not for everyone, and I don't think there's any shame in admitting that. So, I mean, the thing about you saying that you're booked, I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
I mean, maybe you could just work into your marketing at some point to let people know that you're not really a wedding photographer.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
That'll come with time.
Exactly.
Here's the next one. I was so hungover at a family shoot and I couldn't think of any prompts on the spot.
I'm curious to know how that went. Like, did the photos turn out okay? I've had a few people write in and say that they've been hungover while they're shooting. I could not imagine doing that. Like, I would not be able to function. Like, I need a clear head when I shoot, because even at like a wedding, if I get like even like a half of a drink in me, I'm like, whoa, like I need to, the head feels foggy. So I try not to like even touch a drink while I'm shooting, because it's like, yeah, you want to be as there as you can. Obviously, like this person maybe didn't control that, or, whatever, like just didn't know that was going to necessarily be the case. But yeah, that is tough. And I hope the photos turned out okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's always tough if you're hanging out with people the night before doing something else, because a lot of your weddings are happening over weekends. So
that's true. Yeah.
It's just hard to have the discipline leading into it. Sometimes I could see for other people. Yeah.
So this next one, I stepped on a cactus 5 minutes into an engagement sesh on the beach. I'm picturing like those really prickly. It's just funny how perfectly prickling fit into that sentence. I'm picturing a really like prickly, like those cactuses that have like the really, really long, like porcupine needles, and you just like getting all of those needles like smushed into your foot. That sounds horrible.
Yeah, I try to wear Birkenstocks on the beach just because I have had too many times where I'm stepped on dune grass or something and it's like a barb going straight into your foot.
Yeah, absolutely not. I don't even want to picture it. I go barefoot on the beach when I shoot, but that's because, I love the young and free life. But yeah, maybe I should start wearing shoes.
Yeah, everybody has their own opinions, but I try to protect my feet.
Okay, let's go to the next one. That's you.
Sorry. I'm like waiting for Cassidy to read it.
Okay.
Here it is. There was a huge snake at a shoot and I was doing for children, and the baby went to pick it up. So I screamed and dropped my camera while grabbing the baby.
A noble sacrifice.
You got your priorities straight.
Yeah. Baby.
People over tech.
Yeah. Baby with the snake or your camera. There's a lot of things happening in this. First of all, like a baby with a bunch of children, or a shoot with a bunch of children. Is this like a family shoot? Probably a location with snakes with the babies. And then like, it's just like, were there no parents looking after the children? I don't know.
So a little bit of a caveat. Growing up in Michigan, we do not really have snakes at all.
No.
We have like maybe little tiny gardener snakes. Sometimes you get some water snakes like near ponds and stuff. But that's like the extent of our snake experience.
Yeah. So I don't even know how snakes get in the picture, honestly. I don't know where they come from, or I don't know.
Yeah. So maybe if you're out west or something and you're just at a park and snakes are just like a regular occurrence for you guys, like, man, that's the Wild West. But in Michigan, we're a bunch of wusses when it comes to snakes.
I'm just like, I can't even picture a snake coming up like that. I just don't even know what I would do. Okay. So before making her entrance, the bride's carriage and horse toppled over.
Oh,
the driver fainted. Huh?
There's so much going on with that.
So how did it topple over though? Like, yes, the driver fainted. Maybe the carriage starts going a little bit crazy, but like, I guess maybe if the horses don't know where they're going, they just decide like, oh, we're going to go wherever. And then the carriage falls over.
I'm afraid of horses.
Oh, are you? I knew that.
Horses are very intimidating to me because I'm imagining my guess would be is if the driver fainted previous to all of this like actually happening, that if the horses got spooked by their driver fainting or passing out or whatever happened, if the horses got spooked, then it's like all bets are off.
Yeah.
And a spooked horse is one of the like craziest animals that you'll ever be around.
Okay. Yeah. Oh gosh. This is horrible. I'm picturing like Shrek 2 when like Shrek and Fiona just get married and they're in that onion carriage.
Oh my goodness.
Heading to the land of far, far away or whatever. Anyway.
But could you imagine? So like those horses that go around downtown with the carriages, if a driver fainted and you see a horse like go nuts for a couple seconds and a carriage like toss the people that are in it.
Yeah. That would suck.
Leading into a wedding.
Yeah.
Or a reception.
Quite traumatizing.
I don't know. It doesn't say.
Yeah. All right. We have 3 more left.
Here's the next one. Accidentally address the groomsman instead of the groom 3 times at a wedding.
3 times. This is Charlie's 3rd time's the charm. His goal or what, like your mindset that you mentioned earlier.
Once you do it a 3rd time, you'll never do it again.
Yeah. So, wow. I mean, this is like one of those things. So I was saying earlier, like the very first confession, at least it didn't have anything to do with like the groom directly. This is basically the groom directly. So this would suck. Hopefully the groomsman was nice about it. I know sometimes when you meet so many people as a photographer and you're just like, it's hard to keep people straight. And when you get something in your head, it is hard to shake that thing in your head. So for example, a wedding that I've shot recently, I thought that the groom's name was something different than what it was. And at their engagement session, I called him that name like all the time because in my head, I just kept telling myself that that was his name because he looked like someone I knew that had that name. So once you get something in your head, it's really hard to shake it. So what I did was I literally like looked at the groom on the wedding day and used his name purposefully like multiple times while I was posing them so that it would help me remember his name.
Yeah. When you get to that point and your like social meter is overloaded and you just can't keep up anymore, it's kind of tough to shake that feeling for sure.
Yeah. So my clients were 2 hours late. As I waited, I smoked cigs with his mom and she showed me his baby pics.
What a great way to get to know the family that you're working with.
You just come alongside them, you know, chill with them and look at their baby pictures.
Yeah. You really get the context of that individual's life.
Yeah. Not the baby pictures. I just picture like, you know, like when you like in the movies, it's always like you date someone and then like, oh, the mom shows you their baby pictures.
Yeah, I was gonna say the mom is always pulling the dirt on the kids.
It's so similar situation. The mom is like, you know what? Let me just show you his baby pictures.
This is a proud mom moment.
Yes.
Just being able to kick back and just share all the baby pics right before they do engagement session or whatever it was, wedding.
It could
just
have
a session,
been, just a normal session. It kind of sounds like.
But why would the mom be at a normal session?
The mom would be like at a senior session. That's what I'm picturing. Is like a guy getting his senior photos done.
Yeah, could be. Well, let's get to this last confession. Swallowed a fly at a session and I couldn't stop coughing and gagging the whole time.
It's the coughing is not horrible. It's the gagging that I'm like, that is horrible.
I don't know if Cassidy has ever made this confession to you guys at any time of her podcast, but Cassidy is mortified of black flies.
I have not mentioned that on the podcast because I haven't had a need to, but thank you for bringing that up. Yes, I am. Specifically the really like big juicy black flies. I simply cannot. If they land anywhere near me, I'm headed inside, which is quite a problem in where we lived in upstate New York. They were horrible. Here in Michigan, they're not as bad, but in the summer, I can't with black flies. They are all up in your business. They land on your food. They don't care if they land on your food. They like look at you while they land on your food. And they're disgusting. And yeah, it's just not happening for me. I'm picturing when they say they swallowed a fly, I'm picturing like a fruit fly or something like not as big and gross as a black fly. That's like what my brain is telling me, because if you swallow a black fly, like you're getting diseases and dying.
Oh,
like
my
there is
goodness.
no way that you survive that. I'm sorry.
See, this is why I said this, because Cassidy was laughing at this individual and the gagging and the coughing. But I want you to know, if this ever happened to Cassidy, she would be acting like she was actually dying.
I would be done. I would be like, I'm sorry, I can't shoot your session anymore. I have health issues right now. Like I cannot. Yeah. So black flies, in case you were wanting to know, I hate them. Somebody actually, when we lived in upstate New York, took a big like fly catcher bag. So I don't want to get into too much detail, but basically the place that we were living, they had like these big bags that would catch the black flies, and
these are like surrounding a kitchen to try and like stave off the
so
flies.
They would catch the flies, and the flies would get into this liquid goo, and then they would like die, whatever. But as they died, it was a huge bag, and they would like go to the bottom of this bag. This is really gross, so if you don't like hearing gross stuff, don't listen to this. But essentially this bag is full of like 100+ dead black flies, and somebody went and dumped the bag of black flies on the front porch of where I was living. And it smelled horrible. I just like I don't really want to talk about how it made me feel, because it was horrible. But yeah.
Sometimes camp pranks just get out of hand. You know?
And I'm traumatized from that. So yeah, that's my experience with flies, and I hate them.
So you know, that was not me.
No, it was not Charlie.
I want to cover all my bases before I have people reaching out to me and say, why were you traumatizing your soon-to-be wife with black flies back then?
Yeah, it wasn't Charlie. But so this person that swallowed a fly, I'm sorry that happened to you. And
Cassidy's starting up a support group with black flies soon, and you're more than welcome to come.
No, I'm not. All right. Thanks so much, you guys, for listening to today's episode. I really appreciate you guys listening this far. And yeah, I hope you liked this episode of Photography Confessions. Charlie, thanks for coming on the podcast. I'm sure you will be on other episodes in the future.
Yeah, thank you. I guess I'm still auditioning for the right to be able to do podcasts with you.
Shut up. You come on some episodes, but sometimes Charlie just doesn't have time to like come on as a guest, because he does other stuff. So sometimes I do solo episodes, sometimes Charlie comes on, sometimes I have guests, whatever. So yeah, thanks for coming on. I'm sure you'll be on episodes in the future.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Have a great day, everybody.
Expose my mind to clarity. Oh, my spirit shudders. Capture the moment, oh, to keep my sanity. And the wisdom rushing in, so much clearer now. Getting a little bit higher. With every step I take, I'm getting good. Getting a little bit